Got offered a loan for 5.75% interest, and I turned it down to take a higher interest rate. Now, I'm Ross, own 150 rentals, flipped over 300 houses, and today we're going to talk about refinances and purchase loans. Now, a lot of people are hung up on the interest rates. Everybody's freaking out because interest rates are going down, they're coming back up, and Jerome Powell and the Fed, and that is important, okay? But not as important as you might think. There's really 4 factors that we're looking at. I'm going to go through all of them and I'm going to show you why I actually took a higher interest rate. Okay. So first off, interest rates are just figured in to the price. All right. Interest rates start going up. Prices are going to start coming down because it costs more to buy a house. Now, everything's moving really fast in the economy, so it doesn't really have time to play out. But anyway, I turned down this loan. Here's exactly why. All right, 4 things. Interest rate, obviously you guys know that one. And then you have the points on the front end. You have fees on the front end, and then you have PPP. That's the prepayment penalty. That means, usually there's going to be a step down. If you've heard of this before, step down would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years, 1, 2, 3. So, if you sold at the end of the first year or within the first year, you would have to pay 5 points on the front end. Okay, so let me help you guys figure this out here. You got interest rates. All right, so let's just say that the interest rate was a crazy 12% on a $200,000 loan. Okay, so 12%, you'd basically be paying 1% per month, 12% per year. There's 12 months in a year, so you'd pay 1% per month. So you'd be paying $2,000 a month in interest. Okay, that's a lot, right? If it was interest only, by the way. Most long-term loans that you get, all long-term loans, 30-year fixed loans, are going to be amortized. So actually you pay a heavier amount of interest on the front end. By the way, I was going to show you this tool that I built for you guys, but let me show you real quick the wealth calculator. So home value today is, let's say, $300,000. You can see on the annual schedule how early you're paying more interest than principal, and it starts to go down over time. It's less in the first year because it's prorated. There's only 9 months left in the year, but you see how the payment stays the same every month or every year, but the amount of interest versus principal goes up and down. Now, the example that I'm showing you is interest only to help make sense of things. But if it was interest only, $2,000 a month, obviously we're paying some principal as well in a long-term refinance. And then points. All right, so this is easier represented with like a hard money lender. A hard money lender might make you pay 2 points on the front end. That would be 2% of this $200,000 right on the front end. So I would pay $4,000 in points, and then I would pay $2,000 a month until that loan was paid off. All right. Now, those are points, which was one of our 4, right? So we have interest rate, points, fees is 3, 4 is prepayment penalty. I guess I went right into that. But anyway, same thing. It's just instead of points on the front end, it's points on the back end. So in year 1, on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step down, on year 1, I would pay 5 points. Okay, so I would pay $10,000 on this $200,000 loan if I sold it within the first year. Okay, and then on year 2, it'd be 4 points. Year 3, 3 points, all the way down to, after you've ended the 5-year prepayment penalty, then you would be down to 0. All right, this is how they get you. You might see a better front end, like, 5.75 came with a 5-year prepayment penalty, and it cost 2.5 points on the front end. Not only that, guys, there's fees. Okay, so these guys all have fees, and this is where they get you. I mean, I have seen some crazy crap with fees blended in to where you don't really understand it. But all right, they're going to have, like, the main ones are going to be some sort of origination fee. They're going to have their lender's fee, because a lot of these guys are brokering deals. Some of them are going to try to charge you for appraisals and such as well. Some of them have the price of their lender fees are including the appraisals. I actually got screwed over by a lender, didn't even know that was a thing. And the lender, they had me pay appraisal fees for 2 new builds that I was doing. And I thought they were a little bit high, but I was like, whatever, I'm already pretty deep with this guy. And so I went ahead and paid for the appraisals, never heard from the lender again. I guess that's how he got paid. He probably was making a cut over the top of the appraisals. Didn't understand that at the time. And here we go. Okay, so once again, interest rates, points on the front end, fees, which could be lots of different things. There's also, like for the hard money loans, there's going to be fees during the process, like inspection fees and such. But I'm specifically talking about purchase loans or refinances on long-term fixed rate. So you're not going to have fees. Usually those guys, they're going to give you the loan. They're going to immediately go and sell it to somebody else. But then we have the prepayment penalties. You got to add all those things up to figure out what actually is the best loan. And here's the reality is most of you are never going to keep the loan 30 years. In fact, it's probably not the best play for you to keep the loan for 30 years. Generally, what you're going to do is over time, the loan's going to start to get paid down. Okay. But the price of the home is going to go up and you're going to say, well, you know what? I can get 80% of a refinance, right? Sorry, that was stupid. Okay, you can get 80% of the value in a refinance. So if you only owed this amount right here, you would be able to get the difference in a cash out refinance. So you might get whatever, let's say 40K right here. That's how a lot of people do it because for one, you keep tapping out the equity in the house. So from like the vampires out there, like litigators and such, it doesn't look as attractive. First thing a lawyer is going to do when you get sued is they're going to look at, what can I get my hands on? Okay. And if you have your house's tapped equity out, they're not going to be able to get anything out of the house, or it's going to be really difficult for them to get that. So that's one advantage. Other huge advantage is this $40,000 that you get right here. That's tax-free money, guys. All right. Because you get taxed on your income. A cash out refinance is debt that you're taking on. Yes, you get to put the $40,000 in your pocket, but that is debt, and debt does not get taxed. Right. I know. Beautiful play. We can talk more about strategy on that another day, but that's basically how the big boys do it is you continue to refinance your properties. That's the income that you get every year, but it's not taxable. That's how people pay $0 taxes. What's up? Okay. Next is this calculator that I built for you because of AI, guys. If you're not using agentic AI right now, like Claude Code, OpenClaw, the Perplexity computer, just shut the video off and go learn. I mean, it is the biggest opportunity of your career. I promise you. Okay. It's where everything's going. You don't want to lose. You don't want to miss the boat on this. That's the ship you should be on. That's why you've seen less videos from me lately, is because I've been staying up all night building crap because I don't want to get left behind. Guys, the whole solo house flipper, solo real estate investor was really hard. Took a lot of skills when you're managing a bunch of vendors, VAs, and that kind of stuff. Now you got a computer that does it for you, gets better every time you fix something, and it's an asset that you own. What are you doing? Okay, go. All right, here we go. Wealth calculator. That's not what we want. We want the refinance calculator, which is what I built for you here. All right, so total loan amount, let's say it's $200,000, 30-year fixed rate loan. You got a couple options in there. We got a higher interest rate with no points and lower closing fees, prepayment penalty, none, right? Your lender's going to give you these different options, or you're probably going to be comparing different ones, so you can add an option in there if you want. You get the idea, comparing the different ones, but you want to ask the questions. What are all the fees that I'm going to have to pay? All right. What are all of them? Do I have to pay for appraisals? Do I have to pay for inspections? Do I have to pay, are there lender fees or are there origination fees? Literally tell me exactly how much I will be paying you. Okay. And then the points, do they like try to fit in some of those stuff? Maybe they have no closing fees, lots of points. fine, whatever. But you're figuring in all these things. And what this calculator is going to do for you is basically, maybe calculator is the wrong word, but it's going to tell you where the break-even point is. All right. Because the point that I was about to say is like, I think that most mortgages on personal residences, is it like 5 years? They expect it to only last 5 years before a refinance comes. But you should be planning this ahead. When am I going to refinance? Because most likely you are. And that's what we're doing here. So if I think I'm going to hold it for more than 4 years, okay, then I should go with option B. Option B is the lower interest rate. Fine, whatever. But that's the point. These banks figure in all that stuff. You have to make the plan for yourself right on the front end. And usually that is my cadence, is like right around 4 years is when I would want to refinance. Okay, do it in different batches. And that way I'm pulling that money out. All right, you get the point. Lots of different things to weigh here. Guys, I get into technical details like this. I'm not joking about the AI. I really want to make more videos about that because I don't want you guys to get left behind. It's all I've been thinking about lately. Anyway, check out my free school community. We talk about stuff like this. I'll answer every question you have. Put it in there. See you guys there. Or if you don't want to get in there right now for free, check out this video right here. Probably pointing in the right place. See you guys later.